whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
First and foremost and most importantly, on behalf of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, I want to extend my deepest condolences to the family and friends of Tyre Nichols. My prayer is that God will wrap his comforting arms around you and keep you during this very difficult time. We can't imagine the pain you're experiencing, but let me reaffirm. We are here to pursue truth and justice, realizing that we should not be here. Simply put, this shouldn't have happened. I've been policing for more than 30 years. I've devoted my life to this profession, and I'm grieved. Frankly, I'm shocked. I'm sickened by what I saw and what we've learned through our extensive and thorough investigation. I've seen the video, and as DA Mulroy stated, you will too. In a word, it's absolutely appalling. Let me be clear. What happened here does not at all reflect proper policing. This was wrong. This was criminal. The depth and breadth of the charges announced today speaks to the deliberate and thorough investigation that this case has received. And our work is not finished. We continue to pursue every lead. Justice demands it. And our agency exists so that guilt shall not escape, nor innocence suffer. To that end, I want to publicly thank our agents, our forensic scientists, our support staff, and our entire team around the state. They worked diligently to expedite this case. We've worked as hard as we could and as quickly as we could to provide a thorough, independent, unbiased investigative record to allow DA Mulroy and his team to make the most informed decision they could regarding these charges. I also want to thank the Memphis Police Department and the city leaders for their cooperation in this case, which I want to stress is ongoing at this time.
We also know that the public is very concerned about whether they can see the video about this incident and the timing of the release of this, the video of this incident. I have been in regular contact with the city of Memphis, the custodian of that record, and I can tell you that the city will be releasing the video sometime after 6 p.m. Friday, tomorrow. And that the city of Memphis should be making a statement somewhat later on this afternoon regarding the timing of that release. Let me close by saying both to the family of Tyre Nichols and to the broader community here in Memphis and Shelby County, we all want the same thing. We want justice for Tyre Nichols.
Well, Richard Pepper, we did expect to hear from the MPD, that's Chief C.J. Davis. She was not here. Mulberry commented that he did not know why she was not present. We basically heard him lay out these charges and the reasons for them. Now, all 5 of these MPD officers have been charged with second-degree murder. We also know the family of Tyre Nichols, who died after a confrontation with 5 MPD officers. They were asking originally for a first-degree murder charge. However, that was not a charge that was included today in that indictment. We did ask him why that was not included. We didn't yet receive a response from that, but he also said that the kidnapping charge, aggravated kidnapping, he explained a little bit more of what that means. He laid out that what that included was that holding down or any type of restraint that might have been legal at one point later became not or illegal. We also too did hear from the FBI director. He was basically laying out this video. Of course, it's very emotional for people in Memphis who are waiting to see the video. He described the video as appalling, criminal, something that MPD is not proud of as well. Richard.
All right, Rebecca, thank you. Now, just like Rebecca mentioned, CJ Davis was not at that press conference, and we are still working to figure out why she was not there to give her public response. But she did release a video last night around 10 o'clock giving her first really open response to this whole death investigation. We had not heard from her yet. So this was a note that what she said in that video.
It's not just a professional failing. This is a failing of basic humanity toward another individual. This incident was heinous, reckless, and inhumane. And in the vein of transparency, when the video is released in the coming days, you will see this for yourselves.
About today on Daily Blast.
Y'all know if there is indeed a video and they schedule it to be released the next day, you know it's not going to be good. What's up, family? That was, of course, we had the copyright disclaimers up, fair use throughout the video. That was courtesy of Channel 24, ABC 24 out in Memphis Police. As you have seen, ladies and gentlemen, all 5 police officers that were fired on January 20th for the police beating, the beating of one Tyre Nichols, all have been not only been fired, but as of today, Shelby County District Attorney General Steve Mulroy said that the officers will be charged with second-degree murder. The officers were fired on Friday, January 20th, after Memphis Police Department determined that they were found to be directly responsible for the physical abuse of Mr. Nichols. They were identified as Demetrius Haley, Tadarius Bean, Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., and Justin Smith. All 5 are each charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, acting in concert, aggravated kidnapping causing bodily injury, aggravated kidnapping while possessing a weapon, official misconduct through unauthorized exercising of official power, official misconduct through failure to perform a duty imposed by law, and official oppression. A bond has been set in this matter. 5 are in custody with Shelby County Jail. Bond for Haley and Martin was set at $350,000, while bond for Bean, Mills, and Smith was set at $250,000. Now, interesting as you see this note. Now, I want y'all to know the difference in how. What's up, family? Now, you know I'm here early. Of course, you know I have a comedy show I'm doing tonight, so I wasn't going to be on. But I figured, at least for this random topic tonight, which is not so random, this is breaking news, I could come on now and talk about this. This is a story I had not really been following, to be honest. I had heard only about it through social media a couple of days ago, interestingly enough. And I saw that your Tyre Nichols was someone who had been assaulted by your police department. And tragically, we've seen those photographs of him at the hospital where he's on a breathalyzer machine, a ventilator. And obviously, he's in a coma, unconscious. And sadly, he did not recover. Now, I hadn't followed it, but it was starting to pick up and roll up. I had heard a lot of stuff. Then, of course, Ben Crump is involved, and I'm finding out Al Sharpton is also involved. Now he's actually going to be at the funeral on February 1st doing a eulogy. Why, I don't know. But I do know usually when there's an event, see, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to pass on that for right now. But I want to point this out to you. Now, you notice how these 5 officers that are former officers, I should say, are all charged with second-degree murder. You see Justin Smith, Emmett Martin, Desmond Mills, Demetrius Haley, and Tadarius Bean. Let me say this. You saw how quickly, though, the Memphis Police Department, after this incident occurred back, I believe, on January 8th, distanced themselves from them. Notice whenever there is some type of police altercation with its residents, especially if they are Black police officers, have y'all ever noticed there's a difference versus the white officers who do something? I got to point that out to you all, because whenever it is a white officer that's accused of doing something to a Black person, they are not so quick to be fired and thrown under the bus. Derek Chauvin wasn't quickly fired. A lot of these officers were not quickly fired. Daniel Holtzclaw wasn't quickly fired when he was accused of raping all of those women. The officers, hell, involved in the Dang's in the Bridge shooting, as well as what happened with Henry Glover, they weren't quickly fired. The woman that shot Terrence Crutcher out in Oklahoma, they weren't quickly fired. She wasn't quickly fired. There's a point to all of this. Now, Black police, another thing when it comes to Black police officers, I can tell you a lot of people I know, even fellow Black Americans that I know will tell you they're even more petrified of being stopped by a Black officer than a white one, because Black officers, as what Ice Cube said, and his classic, what NWA said in the classic, F the police, Black cop showing up for the white cop. Because why? Black police showing out for the white police, for the white cop. When they had that something and how he wrote "Fuck the Police," that song, the Black cop was there, the one causing trouble, and the one that was racially profiling Ice Cube and NWA. I told everybody that story that happened with me when I was a kid. I was 19 years old, and I got stopped by the police when I'm going to get lunch. And the cop wanted to stop me, and how he reacted to me, talking about how I was slow, like I was thinking I was actually up to something. I never forget that. You slow around, you drive around like nothing. I'm like, well, I'm not going slow. I saw you behind me, and I made sure I stopped. And when I stopped the car, and then I turned, he put his lights on. Bishop Swan actually talks about it on his Twitter page. He said, you notice something. This is the point I'm talking about. Notice that no white person is on here defending the cops that killed Tyre Nichols and saying he should have complied. What do you think? Why do you think that is? Well, I think we know why. Remember what happened with the white woman that got charged out in with the Black officers that doing time for manslaughter for shooting that white woman. Muhammad Noir, I believe, was his name. black cop that killed that yoga instructor, Muhammad Noor. Yeah, he killed Justine Damon, the Australian American woman who was shot by Officer Moore, and they charged him with manslaughter. They didn't get behind him. They didn't stand behind him. He claimed self-defense. And they convicted him of third-degree murder and manslaughter, but he was acquitted of intentional second-degree murder, and he was sentenced to 12 and a half years. Then they overturned the conviction on the third-degree murder in 2021, and his sentence was revised to 4.75 years in prison with credit for time served. So he's actually out as of last year, but he's on supervised release until January 24th. But let's talk Nichols too. You know, Tyre Nichols was a son. Tyre Nichols was a father, to my knowledge. He was a kid, you know, this was a young man. And I don't know what, this was over apparently some type of traffic stop. And if I'm not mistaken, he had just moved to Memphis, Tennessee, from what I've been reading from the reports. 29 years old, he was the youngest of 4 children. And according to his mother, Revon Wells, she said he was, quote, a good boy. And she says, my son, I know everybody says that they had a good son and everybody's son is good, but my son, he actually was a good boy. But this is a video he liked to do, like to skate. He's a I can't obviously play all of this with the music. They'll hit me with a copyright strike. He's actually not that bad. He's pretty good. Now, the police even said themselves that what's on the video is bad. So it doesn't matter what day or time it's released, but you know, they released it on the evening, as I stated earlier. They were planning to release it on the evening because they know that if it's released during the daytime, they know the riots are coming. They know the people are going to be out and protesting. That's why they had to do this now, and they wait until the weekend. They did it just like they did with Mike Brown. That was around the Thanksgiving holiday. They released it on that Wednesday or before the Thanksgiving break because they knew there was going to be riots in the streets. They knew people were going to be out protesting. And this unit that they were in, all of these scum buckets, all 5 of them were in that Scorpion unit that has been known to be harassing citizens. This is a video from Channel 3. A man recalls encounter with Scorpion unit before Tyre Nichols' death.
I actually read it on the back of their vest. It said MPD Scorpion unit.
It was at this Marathon gas station at Ridgeway in Knight Arnold as he was catching a ride with a friend.
All I heard is freeze, get out the car. Put your MF hands up before I blow your heads off. Both of you, get out the car. So put your hands up. So I put my hands up, and one of the officers proceeded to come to the car, and he physically pulled me out by my shoulder with a gun no more than a foot away from my head.
He says the officers in unmarked cars would never say why they had been stopped. He took this picture of the stop. They eventually asked who the drugs belonged to.
I said, man, I just went across the street to get a pizza, and I'm on my way back to the house. He's like, well, who finna rap this pound? I said, well, can we call my lawyer? And the officers, he yelled out, well, this ain't court. This ain't a time for lawyer. I was like, man, I just came to get a pizza. So he was like, man, we just playing. It ain't a pound in a car. and he let me walk off.
He showed us his call log when he says he placed 2 phone calls to MPD's internal affairs to complain about the officer's forcefulness.
Fair
But he
use.
says he still hasn't heard back. Then he saw the picture of the 5 officers fired in the Tyre Nichols case.
I was like, that's them. I said, that's crazy, that's them. I said, now they don't really hurt somebody. This could have been prevented if the internal affairs took action like I was asking them to do.
We asked Memphis Police about the stop involving Cornell McKinney and are also waiting to hear back.
All right. Now, let me say this. As a lawyer, as someone who practices criminal defense law, all persons are presumed innocent until proven guilty. I don't know all of the facts of the case other than all we know is that Mr. Nichols is dead. And by all reports from what the police
Cornell
department
McKinney
is
says
saying,
the same.
there's a breakdown, you heard the police chief herself say how this was a breakdown in humanity, not just in police, not just in a breakdown and failure in police policy, but a breakdown in humanity. So it was real bad if it happened to be that. If they have to say that, then obviously what's on that video can't be justified. Obviously what's on that video is not good, but these men are innocent until proven guilty. Their attorneys, I did see at least 2 of them have attorneys, obviously in this case they would, that are representing them. Desmond Mills is being represented by Blake Balin, who's a criminal defense lawyer, and attorney Bill Massey represents former officer Emmett Martin. So there's actually video footage. As the news story article went live, the defense attorneys did spoke, and these two attorneys spoke to the press immediately. So I want to give them, just like I shared the prosecutor's video, I will share the defense attorney's video.
We can, knowing that these are the early
That's Phil
stages of
Ballard and
things,
that's William Massey.
and we are in the dark about many things, just like the general public is. But with that being said, we're happy to answer any questions we can.
And
Have you seen the video yet?
No.
And if it's, how long is it?
No, that has not been released to the public, hasn't been released to us. The next step will be that we officially sign on as lawyers for these defendants, and that triggers the beginning of the discovery process. So sometime in the near future, we will get not only what's released to the public, but everything else, every single angle out there, every interview, every piece of paper that the state has, they will have to turn over to us.
Counsel, can you confirm that your clients were part of the Scorpion unit?
Yes, I can confirm that Mr. Mills was part of the Scorpion unit.
And you, Mr. Massey?
Yes, I can confirm Mr. Martin was part of the Scorpion unit.
There's a difference in the bond amount between your 2 clients, but the charges are identical. Any thoughts or explanation there?
Again, we were that information to answer a lot of these questions.
So at this point, you're just clueless of what's going on with the whole thing, because you don't have any answers for us right now, because you haven't reviewed the video. You just know just bits and pieces, just like many of us.
The state,
Yeah.
the TBI evidently have the answers right now that you want to know the answer to, the questions you want to know the answer to. And we're without information to answer the question.
Yes, sir.
So I object to the characterization of clueless. But, obviously we have, I don't want to speak for Mr. Massey, but have spoken with our clients. We obviously have started to think about potential defenses. We are getting to know our clients. I've spent some time with Desmond Mills and have learned a lot about his background. And what I've learned so far is that he is known not only here locally, but back where he's from in Connecticut as just a gentle, respectful father, a family man. I actually spoke with some of his family members today. His father, who talked about his own admiration for his son as somebody who dedicated his life to being a law enforcement officer. And not only is Mr. Mills obviously devastated to find himself charged with a crime, but as somebody who is on the other side of law enforcement, somebody who has been in charge of keeping our community safe, to be accused of something like this hurts him on another level.
Do you either have prior experience in any law enforcement departments?
Desmond Mills does. He, well, not law enforcement, but he has been a jailer both in Mississippi and Tennessee.
I understand attorney-client privilege, but can you kind of talk about their disposition today?
So, Bill, I'll let you answer that one first.
Well, anytime a police officer is going to jail, it's a traumatic moment. And so he was experiencing that this morning. Rendered him to the TBI this morning, and he resolved himself and moved forward.
It's hard to know with anybody, but especially with somebody like Mr. Mills, who is pretty mild-mannered, very respectful. He has put on a very strong facade, but I know underneath it all, this is causing him and his family a lot of anxiety and a lot of pain, not only for his own situation, but for what this kind of accusation, what this kind of incident is doing to our city. So we are concerned. I know I'm concerned not only as a lawyer for my client's safety, but for this community and the frustrations that exist in this community, especially with these kinds of events. So with that in mind, talking about turning them in, and we do appreciate how law enforcement has cooperated with us and with our clients in making sure that they were able to turn themselves in safely, that they are safe within the jail, and that they will be released safely. So I know that Mr. Mills is posting his bond. He is in the process of being let out. And that will be, we are now at the very beginning of what will be a long process.
So can I ask the sheriff if Mr. Mills has said anything about Tyre Nichols and the family and what happened?
Well, so when you talk about what happened, that is obviously something I can't talk about at this point. Of course.
Video of it? Like, have you been able to see the video?
No, they have not let anybody see the video. Hearing that's going to be released soon, and we'll be watching, obviously, with from a different angle, but we will certainly be watching as well.
Mr. Bassett, do you know your client has a bond out plan as well?
The first question. What has spoken about Tyre Nichols or the family, or said anything about condolences even for the family?
He could not be more upset about this entire situation. Again, somebody who has dedicated his life to protecting society, to protecting the community, to be accused of being involved in the death of another is devastating to him. We have not had a conversation specifically about Mr. Nichols, but knowing Mr. Mills and the kind of person he is, I cannot imagine that he has anything other than feelings of grief for this family who has lost somebody. I understand we are defense lawyers. We are representing people accused of causing somebody else's death. But that doesn't mean that we're not aware of the fact that there is a lot of pain from Nichols' family and in this community. So we and our clients, again, not to speak for Mr. Massey.
I don't know what happened. So I don't know what happened with that video, family, but those were the defense attorneys. Now there's another video playing where the district attorney, Steve Mulroy, explains why the officers were also charged with kidnapping. So we'll play that right quick.
If it was illegal detention. So kidnapping is any unlawful confinement of another, which substantially restrains someone's liberty. At a certain point in the sequence of events, it is our view that this, if it was illegal detention to begin with, it certainly became illegal at a certain point, and it was an unlawful detention. The aggravated nature of the charge is because if that kidnapping resulted in bodily injury, that's one grounds for saying that it is aggravated kidnapping. If the persons involved in that unlawful restraint of liberty possessed weapons, that is another ground for saying that the kidnapping was aggravated.
For this family who has lost somebody. I understand we are defense lawyers. We are representing people accused of causing somebody else's death. But that doesn't mean that we're not aware of the fact that there is a lot of pain from Nichols family and in this community. So we and our clients, again, not to speak for Mr. Massey, but I know I and my client, Mr. Mills, are well aware of that.
All of us are. I think all of us are. And, you know, the state has had this matter indicted, and there are numerous allegations made against all of the officers. And I watched the conference today. I thought General Mulroy did a very nice job of presenting his side to the media. And he asked for justice. And we agree. Justice means following the law. And the law says that no one is guilty until a jury says they're guilty. And so that's a process, and that's going to take a long time. Eventually, the state will be able to place their case in front of a jury, group of citizens from the community. And if they have sufficient proof, that jury will say guilty. And if they do not have sufficient proof, that jury will say not guilty. At this point, we don't know what proof they have because we do not have discovery video. So we're kind of in the blind right now. And this process is just starting.
Mr. Martin, can you explain to us if your client is bonding out today as well? And have you had your initial conversation with your client?
Certainly. I spent the week with him.
Similar to your description of him, and is it the same at his time as a police officer? How's he responding to all of this?
There is no way, no one out there that night intended for Tyre Nichols to die. No one. No one.
How do you get beat up? You know, let me just say this and I know the laws in Memphis differ in the state of Louisiana. It's my understanding with a second-degree murder charge out in Memphis, the way that the statute reads, the thing is that the bottom line is that you may have not intended to, even in Louisiana, under Louisiana law, when you commit the crime of second-degree murder, there may not be a specific intent to kill, but if there is also a specific intent to inflict great bodily harm, which is the exception. That's the other part of second-degree murder. That's why there are varying degrees of it. Obviously, they couldn't get a first-degree murder charge, which might be with malice or forethought in the state of Tennessee, but by law, the definition of it if you read it here, now this is 2021. I don't know if the code has been updated, but all second-degree murder is a knowing killing of another. Second-degree murder is a Class A felony. They say that now there are other charges under that statute. It's not just a knowing killing of another, but it's also killing someone. At least two of the other paragraphs deal with drug charges. They also have here another paragraph that says in a prosecution for violation of this section, if the defendant knowingly engages in multiple incidences of domestic abuse, assault, or infliction of bodily injury against a single victim, the trier of fact, well, that wouldn't apply here because this is a domestic statute. So this is the Tennessee code. So they would have to be able to show, I'm presuming beyond a reasonable doubt under the laws of Tennessee, that these officers knowingly made a knowing killing of another. Second-degree murder in Tennessee is a Class A felony punishable to between 15 and 60 years in prison and a fine not more than $50,000. I told you all, yeah, how did they explain his injuries? Yes, how did he get like that? You had, according to what the family said, they looked at the video, they said they used him as a human pinata. They reminded King's video. I'll never forget here in Louisiana when out in Marksville, we had those two black officers, those that were charged with murdering that little white boy. And they got convicted for manslaughter. That Deputy Derek Stafford, the killing of Jeremy Martis. They were arrested on charges of second-degree murder and attempted murder. And what happened was the father in that case, Christopher Few, they had the incident that occurred was that they were chasing his vehicle. I'll never forget this. I was reading this. They attempted to pull Few over, and it was a chase, a 2-mile car chase. And at some point, officers called for backup, and the two officers responded. The chase ended on a dead-end street near the entrance to the Marksville State Historic Site at the corner of Martin Luther King Drive and Tanassas Street. One of the responding officers used his body camera to record the confrontation. Greenhouse and Stafford fired 18 rounds of ammunition into Few's vehicle at approximately 9:30 p.m. Few was struck twice in the head and chest despite having his hands in the air, which was recorded on police body camera footage. His son Martis was hit 5 times by the bullets and was also struck in the head and chest and died instantly. But you didn't hear, oh, he should have complied. He caused this. This didn't happen. Now, I happen to know the lawyers, the 2 lawyers that worked on this case, Jonathan Goins and Chris LaCour. I might have to reach out just to talk with them to see about this, but I remember they were fighting this, and they got the outcome eventually was the charge was on, they weren't convicted of murder, they were convicted on manslaughter and attempted manslaughter because they realized there was a police chase that occurred that was caused by the father, who should have obviously stopped the car when noted. But the point of all of this, guys, is that there was no call. There were more calls to have these men thrown in jail. These black police officers, these black cops were thrown in jail. Stafford got 40 years and Greenhouse got 7. Greenhouse was paroled after a year and three quarters. There were officers with the Marksville Police Department. Greenhouse was a reserve officer. Yeah, I remember this. So 40 years in prison. I don't think it's a long time. So the AG's office prosecuted this case. But they say that the motorist had his hands up. Few had his hands up at the time. But when it was a white boy that was involved, a kid at that, that's what happened. Who was in unmarked cars? You talking about out in Memphis with Tyre Nichols, Tyre Nichols, Robin? No, the bottom line is he should still be alive today. This should not have happened the way it did. I will find out. We will find out more as to no back to badge for Greenhouse or Stafford. Nope. No back to blue. No comply, and this would have never happened. None of that would have never happened, and it's not happening now with these 5 cops involving Tyre Nichols. You know, I'm pessimistic, obviously, when Al Sharpton, I want to get on that. I don't know how Al Sharpton is able to coordinate doing the eulogy for the family. I think that might have something to do with Ben Crump being involved in as the attorney, and to get national attention, that comes in, and they reached out through him. That's my guess, because if Al Sharpton is there, then that means he smells an opportunity. Because he's a fucking opportunist, especially for the Democratic Party. Al Sharpton has not been relevant in the last 20 years, especially after the Tawana Brawley situation that went south. And a bunch of stuff he's been a part of gone south. Anytime he comes in, he's basically the cooler. When you're on a hot streak and you're gambling, if you ever go to the casinos, they usually send somebody out to stop the person with the hot streak. That's the cooler. That's what that's a movie Alec Baldwin was in when he wasn't doing cowboy films. William H. Cooler. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, y'all. But that was the breaking news I wanted to talk about. Obviously, everybody is paying attention to this incident. Yeah, Crump is there. Al Sharpton is coming to town. Al Sharpton smells blood. Fish blood, that is, because I'm selling fish sticks. I can't do Al Sharpton. Y'all remember Al? Yeah. Judge Joe Brown gets on Al Sharpton, and Al. I wonder if Judge is going to be at the funeral since he's running for mayor. And it would be cool if he confronts Al Sharpton. I heard you were James Brown's boyfriend. I can tell, you damn charlatan. You're like a fucking you're like a deflated ass clown balloon. that caught a leak in the Macy's parade, and now you're parading around promoting this foolishness. You're up here eulogizing this young man. You didn't have no damn connection to no damn Memphis. The only funny thing I'm gonna be doing tonight with this subject. But my thoughts and prayers go out to Tyre Nichols and his family, y'all. I'm about to get ready. I gotta run to do this show. I gotta prepare, so I'm gonna make my rounds for a minute to get ready. But y'all be safe and be blessed, man. We're gonna be following this story. God bless the family of Tyre Nichols. My thoughts and prayers go out to them. The city of Memphis right now, especially if with stuff going on. I need you all too, if you can, if you would hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Let's see. Also, support this channel, guys. As you know, it's not monetized. We love if you could donate to the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. We're gonna have a great time tonight. And I guess I'll just do this brief promotion for the show tonight. I got Corey Mosley. I have. Sorry, this video popped up. Corey Mosley, Brandon Haynes. Why is this? I don't want this shit on here. Sorry. What? I'm sorry. Every time I put something up here. All right, let me get out of here. Hold on. I'm gonna put the ad up. I don't know what it is when I click on the thing and some other stuff pops up. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. But New Year's, new laughs. This is we're out and about here at the verdict. Shout out to my lady, my friend, the lovely Malika Honore, the owner of the verdict. This is the New Year, new laughs. You can get tickets now on Eventbrite. We're gonna stop at 7 o'clock, but you all can go ahead, get your tickets now. We got Brandon Haynes, Terry Scott, Corey Mosley, and Chubu, and hosted by yours truly, G. Rich. That's at the verdict, 8 o'clock p.m. That's 9301 Lake Forest Boulevard, right across on Bundy Road, Bundy and Lake Forest. It's Unit 100. That's 9301 Lake Forest Boulevard. Show starts at 8 p.m. Get your tickets now on Eventbrite, all right? So that's it, family. We're going to have a good time. You all be safe. Be blessed. Yeah, get some Nornis seasoning. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nornis goes great with every dish. Have it with my barbecue sauce. All right, y'all. I'm out, family. I didn't even do get on up. I just had to come straight in. All right. And matter of fact, I'm getting a notice that Judge is doing his show now. I think they want me to come on, but yeah, I'm not doing that. All right. Peace, family. Love y'all.